If an election can be won or lost on the back of spurious voting machine technology, and the dead can rise from their graves to rush the ballot box at the very last hour, then why not go the extra mile and fake the population census for a country, a continent, or even the world? If we're truly racing towards a head count of 8 billion, that would suit the establishment just fine. If the elites truly want to bring about their green agenda and humanely cull the masses, they'll first have to convince them that it's a good idea. More and more people are packed into cities, the urban sprawl devouring every last vestige of open land. Over 68% of the planet are now supposedly urban dwellers, although like most official statistics, there's no real way to know for sure. It's a desperate ploy by the autocratic state, but it certainly had an effect. Urbanites across the planet are absolutely convinced that they live in an overcrowded world. So how can we verify what we're told? The global cabal are well known for their creative accounting, mysteriously losing billions in a funding black hole. The same goes for all the recent rigged polls regarding everything from medical safety and efficacy to public support for government policy. Yet the trolls keep trolling, printing more money, fiddling the books, and exaggerating the true extent of their shadow empire. The global population is calculated using census records of 196 countries. Other estimates come from the Friends of the People, the World Health Organization, and various other UN spin-offs. The state admits it's a rough estimate, but insists the margin of error is only between 1 and 2%. So there it is. No more arguments. Trust your government and keep your mouth shut. I'll agree there's at least a few billion of us here, especially those who live under the control grid, identified through digital records, taxed, tracked, and weighed down by a plethora of rules and regulations. We can count those people amongst our number, but what about the rest? How about undeveloped countries or military states under constant threat of war? There are rogue governments, tribal territories, and religious communities who will have nothing to do with the New World Order. There are many regions of the world that remain practically inaccessible to most forms of transport. So what do the governments of the world do? Send drones to every mountain, every desert, every jungle, and take a mean average of the head count? No, of course not. The population count is a blind guess, and more importantly, another weapon in the arsenal of state psychological warfare. If the New World Order wanted to decimate the population with no bloodshed, it could artificially inflate the numbers with a few keystrokes and then drastically slash them again. 500 million, perhaps even more, could be shaved off the total should they need to convince us that the planet is doomed. The propaganda repeats ad infinitum. The masses are treated as a burden on the planet's natural resources. Yet those in the limelight, in politics and media, who flog the dead horse of the green agenda, are well known for flying around the world in their private jets. Al Gore's utility bills at his Nashville McMansion certainly raised a few eyebrows, costing on average $30,000 a year in 2007. We all know that our leaders are hypocrites. That's why they entered politics. May the best liar win. Of course, we could do better. The human race can be a slob sometimes, but the system has been weighed against us, and our hands are tied. If the state is so concerned about the environment, then why not encourage more people to grow their own food and trade it with neighbours? It would mean less plastic packaging, no industrial production, no factory farming. But that would leave the corporate elites out of pocket, which is why we live like this, as a race of wasteful consumers, and we have no choice in the matter. However many people live on this planet, or ever did, it will always be too many for the NWO. According to the Georgia Guidestones, an Illuminati Stonehenge for the apocalypse, they'd like a limit of 500 million. And even then, they'll probably continue to trim the fat. So why the delay? Why are we still here? Well, the elites needed their supplies, ancient technologies back-engineered, and smart minds with great imagination to carry out their dark vision. At the very beginning, they'd reward their intelligent pets with pure gold. But once that started to run out, they began printing IOUs and called it money. They hired the best of the best from around the world. Top academics, scientists, artists, visionaries from every field. And every one of them who signed up had to swear an oath of allegiance under the pain of death. Which is why, when anyone tells you there were no major conspiracies because somebody would talk, you'll know better. It took quite a while, but now everything's set. The elites have their self-replicating technology, their AI singularity, their legion of mechanical slaves, devices to keep them young and even extend their lives into the centuries. The only thing they need to do now is to learn how to use their complicated toys without the help of the rest of mankind. But that's never going to happen, and they know it. The elites may be Machiavellian in their cunning, but when it comes to everyday life, most of them haven't a clue. They've been served by others since birth. They might understand high finance, but they won't know how to make themselves a coffee. To be honest, most of them aren't even that good with money, so they pay others to handle everything. In the past, they even employed people to wipe their arse. In Britain, we have something called the Privy Council, a group of advisors to the monarchy. Privy was once a slang word for toilet, and at least some members of the present Privy Council are original descendants to the royal arse wipers of history. There was a time when the state believed the world was underpopulated and had too few citizens to count on. 2 world wars had taken their plight, and generations of healthy males were killed in a futile conflict. So along came the baby boomers to save the day. Their generation are the cultural butt of many jokes, but they take it on the chin. They lived in a time of true opportunity, without rampant inflation, and a million miles away from a technocratic dictatorship that controlled every aspect of their lives. As for the population count, nobody really knows anything. No exact number, no statistic can be proven. Another statistic up for debate is the decline in testosterone levels, especially in the West. Studies, if you can trust them, offer up the usual causes: unhealthy lifestyle, smoking, drinking, overeating. Although, even if you try to stay healthy these days, there are plenty of other environmental factors to mess you up. Hormones in the water, chemicals in the sky, genetic aberration at harvest time. No matter the reason, if testosterone drops in the West, then the rest can grow their numbers. It's why so many political parties glorify the benefits of mass immigration. They want more people from all around the world living together in crowded cities under the auspice of the corporate state. More people to be tagged and tracked and slowly poisoned until none can replicate. Should we reach that point, the media will of course do its part to incite extreme panic as they make dire predictions for the future of the human race, filling time whilst their paymasters make their final arrangements. Scientists, experts are constantly interviewed, and most will blame the environment for the mass sterility. When the public are suitably desperate, the market will be primed for an artificial womb, which will be hailed as the technological triumph of the century. There's plenty in sci-fi that deals with the concept of artificial human reproduction. For instance, Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, describes a world of designer babies. A similar idea can be found in the 1997 dystopian film Gattaca, selective breeding without the inconvenience of love, sex, or even people. Huxley was a member of the Bloomsbury Group. Their political ideals included a global economy and the development of counter-terrorism to suppress extremism. In other words, buy up or crush the opposition. Another example would be the Replicants of Blade Runner, which, contrary to public opinion, weren't actually machines. They were artificial humans, genetically engineered and enhanced organic beings, bred as slaves for off-world colonies. They weren't built to last, and at tops, they came with a 5-year lifetime guarantee. It's a disturbing idea, a kill switch, some kind of nanotech implant that could limit the lifespan of a human being to a cursory use-by date. Yet it's possible, it can be done, and maybe it already has.